Hey everyone, Ronan here, and welcome back to the channel. We got a lot of things to cover today, but before we get into that, there's something very important that I forgot to do in the last couple of videos, and that's the shout out for the patrons and the YouTube channel members. So today we're going to shout out Silver Heart Soul. Thank you very much for your support. But with that out of the way, now let's get into the analytical stat bar. You guys already know the drill. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and don't forget to drop a comment to help feed the algorithm. But with all that being said, let's get into What If Indigo Champion Ash challenged the Johto League Season 2, Part 12. I hope you enjoy. We begin today's part the day after the events that happened at the Lake of Rage. Team Gary and Team Ash are standing outside of the Pokemon Center, saying their goodbyes as it's time for Team Gary to move on, considering that both Ethan and Gary have achieved their badges from the Mahogany Town gym. Ash tells Gary that he's not far behind him, so expect for them to be meeting very soon to battle in the Johto League, while Vincent reminds Ethan that they have a rivalry of their own that they need to settle. As the four boys talk a little bit of trash to each other, Marina sits off on the sidelines, documenting everything that she has experienced over the last couple of weeks. Just the fact that she had exposure to Celebi in itself is an amazing find, and when she gets the opportunity to present everything to Professor Elm, well, let's just say she can't wait to put the absent-minded professor in his place after the last year of traveling that she's done. This all culminates with the two teams parting ways, as Team Gary heads east out of the town, heading towards their next gym, while Ash and Vincent head west in the pursuit of Ash's next gym badge. Once Team Gary is out of sight, Vincent remembers something very important, and he asks Ash what happened to Lance, to where the young champion informs Vincent that Lance had left very early in the morning. He wanted to get the Marauder back to his HQ and secure all of the Pokemon that had been caught in the Dark Balls, so that way they wouldn't fall into the wrong hands. Wow, that guy's very dedicated to his job, Vincent says. Oh, you don't know the half of it, Ash responds, and he's a very strong trainer too. He's the top of the Kanto Elite Four, and I wouldn't be surprised if he actually wanted to challenge me for my title. Well, that wouldn't be a problem. You beat him last time, Vincent responds, to which Ash says he did, but that was something he was barely able to do. Charizard was on his last leg, and if one more second had gone by, it would have collapsed instead of Dragonite. Truth be told, there was more luck that played a factor in that battle with Lance than anything, and he had years of battle experience to draw from. So if he ever decides to actually challenge me for the title of the Kanto region, then the outcome could be very different than the first time. Vincent wants to add on to this conversation, however he's going to have to put it on the back burner for now, as both of them have finally made their way to the site of their destination, the Mahogany Town gym. Vincent offers a fair warning to Ash. This Price guy is cold, cool, and calculating, so not to drop his guard, because if he does at any moment, Price will take advantage of it. Ash simply smiles, thanking Vincent for the advice as he pushes on the gym doors, only to be greeted by Sheila. Ash inquires where Price is at, however, he doesn't have to look far, as Price is actually in the middle of the battlefield, doing something that Ash, and Vincent for that matter, never thought they would see. He's actually playing with his Pokemon, with a look of pure joy running across his face. He's been like this ever since last night, Sheila says. With the return of Piloswine, the joy that Price once felt in life has returned as well. This is where Vincent mutters, "It looks like the battle you're going to get is going to be far different than the battle that I had." However, this falls on deaf ears, as Ash's one-track mind has kicked in, as he has joined Price on the battlefield, playing with the Ice-type Pokemon and striking up casual conversation with the old man. But this doesn't last long, as Price knows why Ash is here, telling the boy that if it wasn't for him and his friends, then he never would have gotten Piloswine back. So he will be more than happy to return the favor in the only way he knows how, and that's granting Ash a gym battle at full strength. Price will bring his best to show Ash the gratitude he has for everything that he's done since he's been in town. Ash smiles with a feeling running down his spine. He knows that this battle is going to be a good one. Price is a man of his word, judging by everything that he's done up to this point. So he can't wait to get started, and it won't take long, as moments later, Ash finds himself standing across from Price on the battlefield, as the old man is giving him the instructions for their battle. They will have a 3-on-3, and the battle will be over when one side is out of Pokemon. Only Ash will be allowed substitutions. After a brief acknowledgement of the rules, Price leads the selection of the Pokemon by deciding to send in his Sneasel. It's here that Ash looks down to Pikachu. "Hey buddy, I know that you want a chance to battle here as well. I'm going to ask you to sit this one out. as I want to just use the Pokemon that we've met here in Johto. While the mouse is upset about the decision as it wanted a crack at the old man, it does understand, so it decides to take a seat next to Vincent on the stadium. As Ash makes his first choice, Magby, I choose you! The baby Spitfire Pokemon hits the battlefield, ready for at another chance at a gym victory. So the Kanto champion likes to play types, does he? Well, I can promise you this, Ash. It doesn't matter what type you choose against me. Me and my Pokemon will be able to defend against it. While Ash acknowledges this statement from Price, he does comment that even though Magby does have the type advantage, that's not the reason he chose it. It's because he believes in it, and he knows that it can win. And with that statement, the commands of the first battle are given, which both trainers meet with the same command, Double Team, to increase the evasiveness of both of their Pokemon. Feeling pretty confident, Ash decides to follow up with the Double Team command with the Fire Punch, and this was met with an equal exchange of a slash at the command of Price. Both attacks appear to be equal, though Magby's fire type advantage does come to play here a little bit when it's able to push through the slash attack, connecting with Sneasel for the first damage of the round. Feeling confident, Ash decides to follow this up with a Smog attack. However, Price isn't going to take this lane down as he orders another Double Team. Sneasel again vanishes into a blur across the battlefield as it gracefully dodges the Smog attack. This puts Ash on notice as he begins to realize that there is a clear difference when it comes to Sneasel and Magby. While Magby does have the type advantage, speed is not its greatest ally, as Sneasel makes that appearance when it connects with the quick attack at the command of its trainer. Ash quickly tries to retaliate with a Fire Punch, however this misses, allowing Sneasel to evade the attack once more and then connect with the feint attack of its own. The double evasion boost is working to the disadvantage of our heroes, and Ash has to figure out something quick, and he's going to have to do it soon because Price is calling for his next move, which is another Double Team. At this rate, Sneasel's going to be impossible to connect with, Ash thinks to himself. He's going to have to do something to slow it down. But it's here that Ash realizes something about Sneasel. It uses the battlefield almost like an ice rink, which gives the Indigo champion an idea. He orders Magby to use a series of Fire Punches, but these aren't directed at Sneasel, rather the battlefield below it. As with a couple of connections from the Scorching Fists, the ice begins to melt, turning everything into a pool of water. That is, everything where Sneasel stands, while Magby does its best to keep its side of the battlefield frozen for its own protection. Price is trying to figure out what Ash is up to, but he knows one thing: he still has the speed advantage, so he orders Sneasel in for another quick attack. This is where it begins to dawn on the old man of what Ash's plan actually is, as Sneasel tries to take off from the pool of water, only to miss some of the footing, as the ground beneath the water has turned to mud due to the ice no longer being there. This has created somewhat of a swampy terrain on Price's side of the battlefield, causing Sneasel to move significantly slower in its execution of the quick attack. Ash notices this as it's exactly what he was looking for. It's here that Magby is able to launch its counterattack, as Sneasel is no longer able to outpace the move, as Ash calls for a Fire Spin. Suddenly, a tornado of fire begins to envelop the area as Price orders Sneasel to use a quick attack to try to outpace it. Unfortunately for the gym leader, his Pokemon is too bogged down knee-deep in mud in order to evade it, forcing Sneasel to take the Fire Spin head on. Once the attack subsides, what stands before them is a very cooked ice type, as Sneasel lays defeated with spirals in its eyes. Ash is happy to have the first win on the board, though he has to admit one thing: Magby did take a decent amount of damage from those attacks, considering Sneasel was far stronger than he gave it credit for. Price recalls his first choice, telling Ash that was very ingenious to use Magby's Fire Punch to turn his side of the battlefield into somewhat of a bog. He didn't think that that would be a way to slow down Sneasel, but it just proves that no matter how old you are, you haven't seen everything. Ash simply smiles, telling the old man that no matter what Price throws at him, he's gonna be ready. The gym leader simply smiles, stating he would expect nothing less from a champion, as he declares, "Lapras, you're up!" Price's second choice of this gym battle has taken to the field, making Ash realize one thing: he can't rely on Magby for this part, considering it has water typing to it. So, deciding to give it some rest, our hero recalls it, as Price questions Ash on what his next choice will be. However, the champion doesn't have to think long, as he already had it in mind when he saw that Lapras was Price's second choice. Meganium, I choose you! The grass starter of the Johto region hits the field, ready to take on its opponent. This choice has Price questioning exactly what Ash is up to. He went from giving himself a full advantage to putting himself at a full disadvantage. Well, he wouldn't be champion of the Kanto region for nothing, so Price knows that this is going to be a great battle. With a wave of the flags, the second round begins, as Price wastes no time setting things up in his favor, as he calls for something that's going to make Ash's job a lot harder: a hail. The temperature in the gym begins to drop as small balls of ice begin to fall from the rooftop where clouds have begun to form above everyone. The coldness of the situation has even begun to freeze over the water that Ash had melted with Magby, giving Lapras a solid surface to slide on. However, as Lapras is completing its attack, Ash wastes no time going on the counter, ordering a Razor Leaf. The Grass Dino begins to fire the sharpened leaves through the air. Unfortunately, while the leaves are sharp and Meganium is very powerful, there's one thing that they have to acknowledge. The hail is proving to be quite the problem, as it's catching some of the leaves, only allowing a select amount to actually hit Lapras, minimizing the damage. "You're gonna have to do better than that," Price says to Ash, as he reveals the reason why he gave him an opening for the move in the first place, calling for a Blizzard. Knowing that this is a guaranteed hit from the most powerful Ice-type move that Price could possibly have in his arsenal, Ash does the only thing he can do, ordering Meganium to put up a light screen in an attempt to stave off some of the damage. Luckily, it's able to get it up just in time as the Ice-type move connects with it, saving the Grass starter from what should have been a guaranteed knockout. That's not good, Ash thinks to himself. One more move like that and Meganium will fall. And let's not forget the pressure of the chip damage that Meganium is taking from the hail falling from the sky. Ash knows that he needs to do something to get in great damage. However, he needs to prevent Lapras from firing another Blizzard his way. It's here that he comes up with an idea. He needs to bait both Price and the Ice type, but there's only going to be one way to do that, and that's to get in really close. Throwing caution to the wind and throwing Price off guard, Ash orders Meganium to use a return. Risking it all, Meganium charges in, throwing its full weight into the attack. However, Price is unsure of what Ash is trying to do here, knowing that he has Blizzard to take care of Meganium, so he orders one final attack from his Ice type. However, this is where we get to see Ash's ingenuity taking place, as he orders Meganium to use a Vine Whip. Use its vines to bind the neck of Lapras and control where the Blizzard is aimed. As it charges down the battlefield, Meganium uses its vines to get ahead of itself, doing exactly as Ash asks. And just like its trainer had predicted, Meganium is able to hold Lapras' head straight up so the Blizzard fires towards the roof. This allows the Grass type to slam into Lapras as hard as possible, throwing its full weight into it, sending Lapras sliding into the gym wall. The force of this is enough to rattle everything, leaving a dust cloud where Lapras had landed. It's at this point that Ash is feeling confident that he was able to beat this thing. Unfortunately though, he's gonna have to reap what he sows, when the intensity of the hail grows due to the Blizzard being introduced directly to its source. This causes the balls of ice to grow rapidly in size as they are brought down on top of Meganium, pelting the Grass type with an unbelievable aggression that drops Meganium right there. In the end, as the hail fades and the dust cloud from where Lapras settles, it's revealed that both Pokemon were knocked out, bringing the second round to a draw. Both trainers recall their Pokemon, to which Price compliments Ash, saying that he thought Lapras would be able to best his Grass type, but he should suspect nothing less of a champion-level opponent. Ash reinforced this, saying that he really thought he had that one, but unfortunately it seems like the weather condition played a favorable part for the gym leader. However, things look in Ash's favor as it's still 2-1, but just because the numbers are against Price doesn't mean Ash should count out the years of experience he has. As the old man declares, "Piloswine, go!" The Bacon of Winter's Pass emerges to the field with a brief thud, followed by a snort, signaling that it's ready to take the first battle with its trainer that it's had in over 50 years. Ash figured that Price would use this Pokemon considering the way he broke down when he saw it the other day, with the young champion asking if this is Price's strongest Pokemon. This is where Ash gets something that he wasn't expecting from Price, a miniature diatribe of his young life. Price goes on to explain that in his youth, he was untouchable as a trainer. He was feared far and wide for his expertise with the Ice-type Pokemon. Even Fire types and their trainers would freeze in the presence of him and Piloswine. Far before there was ever any type of gym challenges ever established in any part of the world, Price was known for traveling to territorial tournaments and taking many wins. That was until he first stepped foot in the Kanto region, in a place called Cinnabar Island. Price was the hotshot young trainer from Johto that everyone was talking about. However, he was not the main focus of this tournament, as there was another one in attendance that was known for their expertise in the fire typing. However, this didn't matter to me. We had faced many fire trainers before. This young trainer and his Magmar was just another one for us to take down. As the tournament rolled on and trainers fell to both me and this other fire-type opponent, it became clear that we would be the ones facing each other in the finals. However, what wasn't clear was just how skilled this fire-type trainer was. This trainer hadn't held back for the duration of the tournament, only letting loose what techniques and skill that he needed to just to get by. That was until we met. I was young and my arrogance cost me that battle. The cockiness I showed as I entered quickly faded away as my Pokemon were taken down one by one until it was just me and Piloswine left. I couldn't understand it at the time. We had faced so many fire-type Pokemon in the past. Why was this trainer any different? But the truth was, I was blinded to the situation. I had lost before I had even entered because I assumed that I knew everything there was to know about countering a fire-type. However, my vision was clouded and my judgment was skewed, and this came to a head when Piloswine was on the receiving end of a fire blast. It was in that moment when my oldest partner was put in danger that I realized it was because of me that this was happening. I had cost us the battle, and it was about to cost me even more. In a split moment, I found myself running onto the battlefield. Covering Piloswine as a fire blast consumed both of us. The next thing I knew, I had woken up and I was back in Mahogany Town with Sheila and Piloswine by my side. However, my actions had cost me greatly. 70% of my body had suffered third-degree burns because of the fire blast. All I knew in these moments were pain. I spent hours laying in bed, screaming, just wishing for it to stop. It was here that I found myself alone with Piloswine as Sheila had headed into the town to get some much needed food to help me recover. But in the time she was gone, all I could do was scream in pain. It was so bad that even Piloswine couldn't stand to be around it. Then, without a moment's notice, Piloswine stood up and kicked open the door to the cabin, taking off into the blizzard outside. Though I was writhed in pain, I gave chase the best I could, barely keeping visual with Piloswine until it stopped suddenly about 50 yards ahead of me. It was then that it happened. A flash in the sky, and a boy lying unconscious in the snow. It was at this moment that Sheila had found us, and she used her abnormal strength to carry us both back to the cabin. However, I had expended myself to the point that the next time I woke up, that boy was gone, and my burns were mostly healed. However, the events of that night felt like a dream, but I quickly found out it was more like a nightmare. It's been 50 years since that night, and I never thought I would see Piloswine again. When I saw that boy Sammy with Gary and the others, I knew instantly that it wasn't a nightmare, and something far beyond my understanding had happened that night. But I never thought it would bring me back in contact with my oldest friend. Now we stand here in front of the champion of the Indigo region. Ash, I aim to make this a battle worthy of your presence. Let me and my oldest friend show you the power that we once demonstrated in our youth. Smiling, Ash readies a Pokeball for his next choice. Price, I want you to bring your best, because that's what I intend to do. Shuckle, I choose you. The defensive bug hits the ice, sliding across the battlefield like a hockey puck, ready for its next chance to battle a gym leader. Price knows instantly what Ash is trying to do, and using Shuckle's defense is a great way to stave off Piloswine's power. However, Price isn't going to give Ash the chance for this, as he calls for the first move of the battle and a Reflect. Liking this option to start the battle, Ash chooses to follow suit, as he calls for a Defense Curl. Both Pokemon do what they can to maximize their bulkiness, as the next commands are given. For Price, it's a simple one, a Rock Slide, while Ash calls for a Rollout. You would think that Shuckle would have the advantage here. However, it's at this moment that Ash gets a chance to see the power of Price's oldest Pokemon, when the Rock Slide slams Shuckle right into a gym wall, not even giving it a chance to execute the rollout. Luckily for our Indigo champion, his defensive Mon isn't that hurt. More upset than anything that it's got a scuff on its shell. Seeing that they have a clear difference in power, Ash decides that it's time to play the long game. He orders Shuckle to use another rollout so that way they can move across the battlefield and get close to Piloswine. Price has a good idea of what Ash is up to, so he decides to pull one of his oldest tricks out of the book, telling Piloswine to use Rock Slide. However, its direct target isn't Shuckle, but the pathway between the two Mons. However, Ash and Shuckle are undeterred as a rock wall begins to form. This is where our young hero orders a change-up, telling Shuckle to use the speed of the rollout and shift it into a rapid spin. Doing so allows Shuckle to skate across the ice so smooth that it begins to gain speed as it hits the rock wall at an angle, gliding into the air just above Piloswine. However, Price wanted this because he was using the rock as a means to obscure the view of both Ash and Shuckle, as Piloswine was charging its next major attack. And unfortunately for our hero, the bug type is going to feel it, as Price orders Piloswine to let loose with a supercharged Mud Bomb. This consumes Shuckle, as its increase in defense bears no position here, as this is a special type attack. Shuckle is at a pure disadvantage, and this is noticed by Ash when he orders Shuckle to try and use another rapid spin to balance out. However, there's a problem. The mud had gunked up all of the holes in Shuckle's shell, leaving it unable to really get out of it. This leaves the bug type with only one option, as it collides into the gym wall with the full force that it had gained, trying to gain a favorable position. Ash calls to Shuckle, trying to get it to move again, because unfortunately for the bug type, Piloswine is on top top of it with none other than its worst possible nightmare, a rock slide. However, it is at this moment that something truly amazing happens. The rock slide begins to take shape and mold into a new attack. The boulders that collide into Shuckle appear to have fossils in them. Then, without notice, Piloswine begins to glow as if its stats were increased, followed by another deepening glow. But this isn't a stat increase glow. This is an evolutionary glow. As Shuckle begins to shake off the cobwebs of the boulders that just smacked it to oblivion, it is greeted with the sight of its opponent evolving, as neither Ash or Price can believe this phenomenon. As the light fades, Price's ace has taken on its final evolution in Mamoswine due to the fact that its rock slide had changed into the move Ancient Power. In this one simple act, Piloswine has demonstrated its ability to rise to the occasion, just as its trainer has. It will not let the mistakes of the past hold them back. Ash knows that him and Shuckle have a challenge on their hands, so he orders his best move possible, another rollout. However, Price or Mamoswine are not going to give him the option, as the gym leader orders one final move, an earthquake. The ice battlefield begins to shake violently as Shuckle is thrown about, hitting into the wall and then the ice pillars of the battlefield. Mamoswine holds nothing back, increasing in the power of its seismic activity until the gym lays in ruins and Shuckle lie defeated with spirals in its eyes, unable to continue the battle. Recalling Shuckle, Ash compliments Price on his and Mamoswine's bond. Even though all this time has passed, the two still battle like they've never missed a beat. The old man smirks and tells Ash that he knows what his final choice is, and he hopes that Ash and Magby can demonstrate the same bond that him and Mamoswine have. Not wanting to be rude, Ash declares, "Magby, I choose you." The baby Spitfire emerges from its ball, ready to continue where it left off earlier in the battle. The flags wave, signaling the final stretch of this gym battle, and Ash knows he and Magby have a lot of ground to make up. So he decides to start things off strong, calling for a double team. Price reciprocates this thought by calling for another Reflect to raise the defense of the Pachyderm. Now that the conditions of the battle have been set, the real fun can begin, as Price starts things off strong with an earthquake. However, Ash isn't going to fall for this twice, and he has something on his side this time that he didn't have with Shuckle. That's speed, so he orders Magby to use its to their advantage by jumping on the boulders that are made of ice and rock that lay throughout the battlefield from the previous altercation. This allows Magby to stave off the damage as it makes its way towards its opponent with another flurry of double teams to raise its evasion even more. This is where the weakness in Price's strategy becomes apparent, as even though Mamoswine is a very bulky and powerful Pokemon, its speed is where it's lacking, and Magby is able to take full advantage of this by landing a Fire Punch directly into the nose of the beast. Unfortunately for our champion though, this is where the Reflect is going to kick in to half the damage and give Price a much needed opening as he calls for a Blizzard from Mamoswine. With Magby being at blank range, the Ice type envelops it, encasing it in a tomb, much to Price's pleasure and Ash's dismay. Then, almost to add insult to injury, Price orders an Ancient Power, in the hopes that the boulders will crush Magby and bring this battle to an end. However, just because Magby is entombed doesn't mean that it's out of the game just yet. Remember, it is a fire type, and Ash has a move in mind that can stave off its frozen imprisonment. Magby, use Fire Spin! The little Spitfire heeds the call of its trainer, as it is directly beneath Mamoswine, being this is where it had dropped when it was encased in the Blizzard, and this is going to give it the perfect opportunity for some payback. As Mamoswine charges the Ancient Power, Magby is able to use the Fire Spin to break out of the frozen that has been caused to it and hit Mamoswine for some non-physical damage that's going to cause a revolving door of chip damage over the next few moves. This was a massive push for Team Ash as the Ancient Power is brought down on Magby, but due to its raised invasiveness, it's able to dodge fairly easy, allowing Magby to counter with another Fire Punch. Now, while this move is cut in half because of the raised defense from Reflect, it is still super effective, causing a decent amount of damage to Mamoswine. However, this puts Magby in the peripheral of the Mammoth, allowing it to time a Blizzard just right to strike the fire type, once more sending it careening back into a pile of rubble. While the move was not super effective towards Magby, the sheer force that was put into it could have been enough to knock it out. This is a cause of concern for Ash as he calls to it. At first, it seems like Magby may have been knocked out. That is, until the rubble slowly starts to shift and the baby Spitfire is able to emerge, although it's a little bit worse for wear. This is where Price calls for another Ancient Power, and the only thing Ash can do is make sure that Magby does not get hit again by calling for another double team. Luckily, with its raised evasiveness and this turn, Magby is able to dodge the attack. However, there is one thing that is noticeable here. Magby is beginning to tire because of the amount of damage that it's took, and it's starting to slow down. This could result in it getting hit very soon. Price can see this as well and aims to use this to his advantage, as he tells Mamoswine to put everything it has into one final Blizzard. Magby is in the direct path of this, and it doesn't have time to dodge, match. Realizing there's only one possible out to this, Ash calls for another fire spin, hoping that Magby will have enough power within it to push back the ice-type move. What follows is a struggle of elements as Magby puts everything it has into the attack, while Mamoswine, using its sheer bulk, gives no quarter to the baby fire type. Things are not looking in Ash's favor as Price tells Mamoswine to turn on the pressure. They're gonna end this now. It's here that Magby looks like it's beginning to falter. However, it refuses to give in, as it can hear not only Ash, but Pikachu and Vincent cheering for it. This causes something inside of it to well up. It's an unknown power that Magby has never been able to tap into. It's in this moment that the fire spin gains more power, growing in size. Ash can see this, and he continues to cheer on Magby. He doesn't know what it is, but he knows that the little fire type has what it takes to overtake this attack and win the battle. These words of confidence from its trainer cause something to happen. What was once a meek fire spin has now transformed into a full-on flaming kanji, as flashbacks of both Price and Mamoswine's past come running through their mind. This causes the mammoth to break focus for just a millisecond, allowing Magby's new fire blast to engulf the mammoth. Ash yells not to hold anything back. It can do this. With the fire type attack steadily growing in power, Mamoswine is no longer visible, but then Magby begins to sputter as the attack loses its substance, and the little Spitfire falls over, just as Mamoswine is revealed, and they both have succumbed to their injuries, making this battle a draw. Sheila begins to make the call, declaring that the battle is a draw, hence no badge will be given out. However, Price stops her. No, he says. This boy and his Pokemon have demonstrated a will to never give up, and he has represented the Kanto region well as its champion. He overcame the evolution and the experience of both me and a Pokemon despite his youth. And furthermore, he has reminded us what it means to be trainers. It is here that Price presents Ash with the Glacier Badge, telling the young man that no matter if the gym battle was a draw or not, he has earned this for all of the effort he has put in to protect Mahogany Town and remind Price of the things he has lost. Now, due to Ash's history, he's normally not one to want to take out handouts when it comes to gym badges. However, he has grown a lot over the last year, and he realizes that this isn't a handout. There are other means of victory besides just winning a battle, and that's something he's come to learn. So he accepts the badge, thanking Price for the chance to battle him, to which the old man tells him he looks forward to his performance in the league. And with that, we are going to end this part. So tell me, what did you think about this part? How did you feel about the battle that Ash had with Price? Who was the MVP of this battle? How did you feel about Price and how he was tied in with everything that had happened with Celebi? And of course, are you excited for the next parts? Because there's only one more gym badge for both Ash and Gary and the rest of their respective teams, and then we get onto the league. And what teams do you think each trainer is going to use in this final gym battle? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's all we had for today's video. I really appreciate you guys stopping by to watch all the way to the end, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. If you guys really enjoy my content, consider following me on some of my other platforms like Discord, where you can get to know other people who are interested in what ifs, or on Twitter, where I post sometimes behind the scenes updates. Or if you want to help the channel grow a little bit extra, why don't you consider donating like the people right here have, as whatever you could offer could help us get to a larger audience by helping us get new videos done, or some of the projects that we work. Custom art is getting kind of expensive, so we want to make sure that we have the funds to do that. But with all that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed everything, and I will see you in the next video.